I hereby call this meeting to order.
Can I?
First item of business
That's all right.
is minutes.
The minutes.
Any questions or comments regarding the minutes?
I just have one comment.
Mhm.
The minutes, as we know, are transcribed from
Right.
the YouTube, and Garrett went through and annotated. Now, I went through it, and there are some just minor changes. It was a PDF, so I couldn't make the changes. So if you send me the Word document, I'll go through and just make a few minor corrections. It's nothing substantive that would change the
Okay.
content, but it's just sort of grammatical corrections,
Yeah,
which
yeah, I
I'm happy
mean,
to do.
right, and sometimes, I mean, the transcript, the computer-generated transcript has misspellings, and, yeah, it has a lot of trouble with names, for example.
Okay.
But the
So-
substance is there. It's
Yeah.
quite remarkable
Yeah.
how accurate it is.
Yeah, it
Very
is.
good.
Good.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
Motion to accept,
I
Subject
second.
to grammatical corrections.
yes.
Do we have
I
any
second.
minutes?
All in favor?
Aye.
Let's do this as a roll call. I'm sorry.
Garrett
Garrett,
Stuck, aye.
Caroline Bolter? Aye.
Rudd Lawrence, aye.
William Kendall, aye.
Deborah Chialfi, aye.
Okay, good. They are approved. Do we have a treasurer's report?
No treasurer's report this week. It seems like staff was out for Easter.
Okay, no treasurer's report. We've got a couple of minutes. Monitors reports.
I have a few, actually.
Okay, and we have one
I
too.
have one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, this is for 2038, 2040 Main Road. That's the addition that's being put on the house, and the antique house is being,
Bill, could you
Great.
speak
what?
into the, I can't, I'm having trouble hearing
Oh,
you.
okay, this is for 2038 and 2040 Main Road, and it's the addition that's being built on the back of a house, and the antique houses, which is to the rear of that, which is being raised up off the foundation higher. Work is going to start on that next week, and Rudd and I are monitors, so we will be meeting with the contractor as well as the architect.
Correct. Good. Okay, and you have.
Okay, so Beverly and I went around the point, and we actually took some photographs of some of the ones that we are responsible for. So on 46 Cape Bile Lane, that's Henry Frisch. That work has commenced, and I'll pass these along, and then I'm going to
Were
put
you
these in the files.
notified?
Sorry?
Were you notified?
Yeah, Henry
Okay,
Henry
great.
emailed me, and he told me
Good,
they
good.
were about to start, so
Great.
we went by and looked at it.
Okay,
Um,
yep,
So it's underway, you can actually see the framing now of the second story.
Very
So
good.
It's looking good.
Okay.
7 Windward Way, Yvonne Barr's house, they've now built, and I believe it's completed. Caroline and I have already gone once before, but now it's completed, the
The garage.
freestanding garage.
Okay.
yep.
And I'll put these photographs in each of the files.
problem.
1959 Main Road, Halverson. Our mandate was just to inspect the exterior. She's still under construction on the interior, but the exterior appears to be completed. She has new shingles, new fascia boards,
New
new gutters,
gutters.
new windows, and it's all in compliance with what she applied for.
Perfect. Good.
And then this is 2034 Main Road, Jeff Wade. His porch is now complete, and new Pella windows have been installed with all the trim work. It looks quite beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
It's a nice
checked
job.
off, done.
Nice job.
And then 2043 Main Road, this was not our monitors, I think it was
It's,
you guys.
Garrett and
Or Gary.
All the way down
But
to the end.
just a progress photograph, they've
Yeah.
started,
Right,
and the
right. We were-
building is up.
You guys are so great. Maybe we should just
We
make
were
you
noted.
permanent monitors on
Well,
everything.
I think we are monitors for most of these projects.
So that's going along quite well.
Okay, good.
And the architect had notified us.
Yeah, well, this one I've seen this.
That's
one,
Kit.
sorry.
Yeah.
Architect, yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing we did, even though, we didn't take photographs of everything, but there were lots of small, like, certificate of non-applicability that we just went through and sort of looked and said, okay, he's done with his outdoor shower, you can't really see it from the road. So we checked all that off, and I have a schedule of all the different ones that we have to keep track of. So I'll put this into
Is
the
that ready?
minutes.
That's terrific.
Well, we did about 10 more of them that I don't have photographs of,
Mhm.
and I'll just put this into the minutes, this
That's
list.
terrific.
These are for certificate of non-applicability.
CNAs, you're right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Very good.
So for the CAs, though, I think it's probably
Okay,
good
you want
to take
water or something?
photographs.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll add this to our minutes, and I'll
That'd be terrific.
email this around if you'd like a copy of it, sort of our ongoing list.
Great, thank you. Okay, now it is 6:05, 1966 Main Road. Hi. Got an application? You can just come and sit up here if you like. Tell us what you want to do. Sure.
We are trying to replace 6 windows that are just old and in
Rotting.
disrepair.
Got it.
And I think there's only 2 that are visible from the street that were of
There's
concern, right?
2 that are visible from the street. There's 2 that are, they're not visible from the street, but they're south facing. And then there's 2 that are east facing that are only visible from Cunningham Lane,
Okay,
which runs adjacent to us on the north side.
right, okay, good.
Is that a public lane, Cunningham Lane?
I think it's, I don't know, I
I
think
don't
maybe,
actually know if it is. I don't think so.
I don't think it is. Yeah.
Maybe,
I think it
should we do a search?
might be private. There's only 2.
You know, it doesn't matter,
What?
whatever we decide, we'll decide for,
Yeah.
because they're all, I assume we're talking the same
The only
windows
two that are
everywhere.
visible is from.
Correct,
Monroe.
yes, they're all the same, all 6 of them are the same.
And we,
Style
we
and
yeah, we
size.
chose a window that we asked you,
I talked to this gentleman right here, Mr. Kendall, who, so we picked the window that he told us was most, the Anderson Woodwright windows.
Mhm.
And we already spoke to somebody about getting the sizes made custom to what they are
Now,
existing.
also, you mentioned that it would be, these are not insert windows, you're replacing the entire window unit.
Correct,
Right.
yes.
And the trim that you're using is going to be a replica of the trim that's there now,
Correct.
okay? And also, the size of the window is going to be as close as you can to,
yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah, it's gonna
exactly
be
the
the
same.
exactly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it's
they're
going to
able
fit
do
into
it.
the same
All right,
Yeah.
rough
that's
opening,
great.
right?
That's great.
So it goes into the same rough opening.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the configuration of the windows, the way they're divided up, is with the 6/2
It's 2/1.
2/1. Okay.
Hmm.
So you're going to repeat that same. Okay, and the mutton size is 7/8 or?
That's the little divider.
That's-
Oh,
that's-
hang on. I don't know if I measured that. Is it on there?
I don't know.
It might be in the back of, oh, here, actually, no, wait, it's right
Of
here.
your, of your
This is
specification.
what, does it show it though?
Let's see what they've got.
That was from.
Well, let's just say is it's going to match what's there.
It's-
Exactly.
If I'm
It's a-
guessing, it's probably an inch. Like, if I'm
Well,
thinking about it,
it's
maybe a
less.
little less.
It's a less than an
but-
inch. It could be 3/4
Yeah,
or even a little less in that style of
This
window.
doesn't show it.
Okay, just so we understand that it's not going to be 1.25 inches, you know.
No.
It's not gonna be fat.
We don't.
no,
No.
when he came
Right.
and measured everything, it was gonna have it be exactly as it
That's
exists
terrific.
now.
That's terrific.
Okay, they don't mention
They
that.
don't show it. no.
And this is the real Anderson, not Anderson Renewal, right? Anderson Renewal
This
is
is
totally
Anderson, no,
separate.
this is Anderson Woodwright.
No.
Woodwright.
Yeah, we
Correct.
just, yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah.
Anderson also has a renewal
No, we
program. which is
specifically asked for the wood
Uh,
rails, that
The
was.
renewal is the insert window.
Inserts, exactly.
Okay, so this is a document you're sending to us. You're
I
sending it-
can, yeah, this was just the quote that he gave us, I brought it just because it had some.
Well, that shows us what you're using, so we'll have to
Yeah.
keep that for
So-
the record.
And how many miles off, or how many feet off of Main Road are you?
I don't know, what, 50 feet, something like that?
Maybe like 2 car lengths.
Yeah.
We're right behind the point store,
Yeah.
so
Right next to Dottie.
I guess that's 50 feet.
something like that.
Away.
Okay.
Okay, it says here that they're 3/4.
Okay,
Okay.
Perfect.
So,
Oh, there it is, you got it, good,
there, okay.
good,
So,
even
Great,
better.
keep this.
I'm
Keep
learning
up
all
with
this window terminology I never needed to
Yeah, I
know
know.
before.
It may serve you in good stead, especially if you ever join the historical.
Well, we were saying, this is something we can do one day. I've lived there since I was a kid, so.
Right.
Well, windows have become one of our most important
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah.
As a
Okay,
design
any
element, they're
question-
extremely important.
Any further questions or comments?
So it's
I'd-
just
I'd like to
windows
just
you're
look
doing,
at
you're
the,
not
um,
changing anything else, no
Well, that's
insulation
the trend.
boards or anything else, okay?
No.
So
Nothing.
just
Could I
windows.
look at the spec sheet?
Sure, yeah.
Pass this down, can you keep all
And
those
it,
together?
and it does say in there that the trim is going to be the same trim that you're taking off in terms of the size.
Yes.
Yeah, everything's gonna be the
Yeah,
same.
everything's gonna be the same.
Great.
Just so it's in writing there somewhere,
So just do like for like.
like for like, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and will you be painting them?
Yeah, so now the trim is white, so
Mhm.
it'll be painted the same as it is now.
Painted white, okay.
It's like a white interior and then the main trim is like a sort of putty gray color,
Yeah.
but that's not on the windows.
No.
And the sashes are white. Do they come with a finish coat, or are they just primed?
They're made out of a material called Fiberex, which is like a fiberglass. And it comes pre-painted,
Okay.
so and it can come in different colors,
Mm-hmm.
but you're using white.
We're using white.
Yeah. So, not all whites are the same. I mean, that's, I'm not sure what you have in the rest of the house, but I guess I'm just concerned that you know, that the whites will match, if you're not painting them, if you're just taking the factory color.
What it is Anderson white.
Anderson
It's
white,
a-
okay.
That's what it is.
I know.
Which
I was
is-
gonna
which
say, I
is
guess
what?
I didn't, when he was there, I didn't ask him if he would color, because it's really just
White.
white.
Yeah, well,
It's
they,
not like white with a
Refrigerator
tone,
white.
if that makes
Well-
any sense. Yeah, it's like refrigerator white.
it has a slightish, well, it's not bright white.
Uh-huh.
It's a little bit
Slightly
less than
gray,
bright white. It's
yes.
very close to,
So like a
White,
slight
white.
off-white.
it's a little bit off-white. It's very,
Uh,
you won't really notice the
Okay,
difference.
okay, that's the main thing.
I know.
I'm
Well, and it
concerned
might be
about.
hard to see because we have storm windows on that
Uh-huh.
are also white, so
Uh-huh.
they're in the pictures, you're seeing through the
Right.
storms. Yeah.
Now, when you do this, will you still need storm windows, or you won't need storm
No,
windows?
I think we will, we probably will, and I think we should,
Mhm.
because
To
we
preserve
get,
them. It's,
Okay.
this is how we got to this place, is we didn't
Yeah.
have storms on, so now we're
Uh-huh.
paying the price of
You won't
that.
need, you will
They
not,
provide screens.
you will not need storm
We
windows.
won't need storms.
No, because those are SDL windows, and the surface is very, very durable.
oh, great.
Okay.
And they're double glazed, I assume?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Double
and
glazed.
I haven't given thought to whether we'll keep them solely because all the other windows have them, and it makes them all look the same, but I haven't.
Looks better without.
Yeah, it looks better,
If-
yeah.
But that's not our purview, so.
And is this all the windows on the, what is that, the west-facing side
I don't know
that
what
you're doing? So all the windows that face the street, are you replacing them all, or?
No.
No,
just the-
we're only placing,
There's just two.
replacing two.
Okay.
So there's 6 windows that you can see directly from Main Road. The 2 on the first story off the porch and the second story, and then there's a little extension piece, and it's just the 2 on that extension piece.
On the extension piece. Okay, but it looks like currently they're all pretty much the same? It's hard for me to tell.
Yeah, every window in the house there's some that are I guess the originals. And then there were others that were replaced probably 20 or so years ago, but every window in the house is the same.
Okay.
Except, I
I
guess,
see.
the one by the
There we go.
stairwell, which is a tiny window, but every other window is the same.
Okay,
Do I hear a motion?
So when you repaint your house, have them make Anderson white for you. Because it's a well-known color.
Do
I move that we accept.
Second?
um,
I approve, I agree,
okay,
I,
just
Deborah
your
Chialfi, I.
Name and I, that's all that's needed.
William Kendall, I.
Rod Lawrence, aye.
Caroline Bolter, aye.
Garrett Stuck, aye.
Okay, you're approved now. Wait, before we let you go, we got to appoint 2 monitors. Who?
Beverly and I will do this.
Okay, you guys have got it. You guys have got it
Now,
down.
Beverly and I have a little
Okay.
system.
Well, she's also directly across the street.
She's right across the street.
That makes it really easy. Do you know how to reach Deborah?
I'll give you my,
Okay.
I'll give you my phone
And
number.
the deal with monitors is notify when work is about to start or when work is starting. Notify them if you want to make any deviation from what we've agreed to here tonight, and notify when work is completed.
Actually, is your email on here?
It should be.
Emery W. Marcus
Yep.
@gmail. All right,
Yep.
I'll send you
Perfect.
a note. Great.
Great. Okay, thank you.
And,
Thanks so much.
Sorry, what, are both your names on the form?
I think
Because
just mine.
we'll need it for
Emery
the,
Marcus, that's it.
Yeah, I think it's just
I
me.
think we'll need it for the
Why
minutes.
don't we do both of your names? Can you just fill out the other name on there? Here's a pen.
I still open when I left it on my seat.
And we'll keep all this as the application.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We finished with monitors reports, I believe.
Yes.
Applications for certificates of non-applicability.
1913 Drift Road, Ronald Baker. He wants to remove his garage roof and replace it like to like.
Okay. What, you know what's there now?
Uh,
Did it say in the application?
No,
No.
not that I know of.
Okay.
Shingles,
Well, but what, shingles come in many.
like
shapes
for
and
like,
forms.
I mean,
Okay, but
it's a roof.
no, I understand that it's a roof. I do understand that.
So when you say he wants to replace his roof, you mean he wants to reshingle it? He's not gonna actually replace the roof?
Right.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay.
I didn't catch his name. What's his name?
Baker,
Baker?
Yeah. Okay.
Russell.
Okay. Okay, any questions or comments? We're good on that? Is that it? That's it?
That's
Okay,
it.
thank you. Now, new business. I think the first order of new business is a presentation we have. You're up. Wherever you want to be, wherever it's easiest to show us what you're showing us.
I think the presentation would be easiest to send to each of you guys as an email thread,
Okay,
because this is the biggest screen that I have at the moment, and I don't have
Okay.
any way of connecting to these.
okay.
But I know Deborah wanted me to bring you
A sample.
a full piece itself. So this is an actual solar shingle. There's
Okay.
quite a bit that I would like to talk to you about.
Sure.
But first, if I could hear from you guys, I know the interest of the community was to find a solution for solar that wasn't as big and intrusive to the eyes.
Right,
Is that right?
yeah.
Okay. What else are you guys particularly looking for when it comes to solar solutions?
Well, what we're looking for is something that's as close as possible to existing roofs.
Okay.
And this is obviously larger in scale, and it still seems pretty reflective.
It's still a little bit reflective in bright white fluorescent lights.
Okay, okay, fair enough.
What is the brand?
This is by Certainteed. So it's
Okay.
called the Certainteed Solstice Shingle, and again, I can
Okay.
send you guys lots of different presentations on it and things like that that I've put together.
Yeah, but you probably got pictures of what it looks installed.
Yes.
Okay,
So the biggest one is going to be a comparison to other bulky panels. So you see the Solstice here on the right side. It is very, very slimline to the roof, and it does not seem super reflective in the sunlight itself.
okay.
Now, before I get too deep into the system, what I would like to mention is it is technology that not a lot of people have heard of yet. Part of the reason for that is Certainteed is very, very picky about who they choose to allow to install.
Mhm.
So I know Certainteed recommended us to you directly, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. The reason they chose coastal, just the way we're set up to do business, I'm not going to bore you guys for an hour, but if it is a solution that you guys look at exploring, when it comes to the Solstice shingle, you have to install it a particular way in order to uphold warranties, longevity, power that actually lasts, and make sure that it's peace of mind for you guys. The way that we've done business with certified installers and the way we've set up to last in the community and do community work and everything like that, Certainty chose us for a reason, and I'd be happy to talk to anybody about that when they have any questions on what the difference is between any regular roofer and what we do. Because obviously we're more than just a shingle installer. We do roofing, siding, windows, doors, the whole nine. I'm actually laughing back there to myself when you're talking about the Anderson because I've installed them personally. So you're like, yes, Anderson white is Anderson white. It's not perfectly white. It's just slightly off because perfectly white has a patent on it. But so when it comes to all the technical aspects, they need a professional. But done the right way, the Solstice shingle is supposed to be that as little intrusive to the eye as possible, while still giving you the power to come off the grid as much as you can or reduce the energy bill by half or more. I know on Deborah's house we did have options to cut our bill in half, if not further, just using this system.
I had him do a sample on my roof size to see what it would do, just to see.
Oh, so we can go look at that.
Well, nothing's on there. It's
Oh,
just
not
on,
yet.
it's a CAD.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, I
it's
see.
not like
I
it's
see.
Just to sort of
Yeah,
see,
okay,
just to
okay.
see what it would look like and to see
I
what the
understand.
energy level would be.
Okay, now, I'm looking at these pictures, and it's not apples to apples. How do you deal with those irregular spaces on the first roof and the place where you've got a vent pipe coming up through the roof?
Right, so this is a full shingle. Obviously, we can't cut it to fit around
Right.
pipes and things like that.
Right.
So we'll fill the surface area as much as we can, while still meeting fire codes, meaning we have to come a certain distance from each of the eaves,
Right.
rakes, hips,
Right,
etc. And obviously, we can't install over a vent pipe, so
Right.
coursing around that. We have a bunch of technology that I use for Deborah's roof, where we use the satellite imagery, creates a 3D model of the home, and basically AI technology to place the shingles in the optimal area where the path of the sun is going to give it the most exposure, and we can play around with it, add or take away shingles to anybody's heart's desire, and it'll always calculate.
But you don't fill those spaces with something that's comparable or something that looks comparable.
What looks comparable is going to be the asphalt shingle itself. So underneath this is just the regular roofing system of
So in other words, you would fill those spaces with a shingle that's the same color?
Yes. If you want it to look as close to the roof as possible, I recommend a black shingle.
Right.
Right. So the black roofing shingle and a black solar shingle, it's going to look very, very similar as you see here on the right. So underneath the solar shingle, it's just the regular roof paper.
Oh, yeah, I think
underlayment
there is a
type of thing.
spot there on the left that's where there are shingles as well as around the edge.
Yep,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
around
Yeah, those are actual shingles
I
there.
actually, I see
Right.
that, okay,
Yep.
got it.
So it's one cohesive system, one warranty across the whole thing, one roofing system. We can't install this without re-roofing the entire plane of roof, or ideally the entire roof if you want warranty or actual longevity. Tying in one roofing system to another never works. So this is a system that is to be done with usually a full roof or at least one half of the building in order for it to work properly, but that way the whole thing is warranted all the way across. And
But if you have existing shingles and you have like a fairly new roof, you can put that on, or you still have to re-roof?
After
You have to
re-roofing
re-roof,
yeah,
okay,
After
all right.
Well, I think that's great because that assures you that it's going to be black.
Right.
Yeah, that too.
Well, it shows you it's gonna be black and it shows you it's gonna last.
And there's no
Yeah.
penetration of the existing shingles, the underlayment or whatever it's
Do
called?
the existing shingles get pulled up when you do this?
Yeah, you would have to
Well,
re-roof if
So
you're
you
gonna
strip
do
it,
the
you
system.
strip it
Strip it
down to
Yep.
the sheathing.
Yep.
Right, but once you have a new roof that you install, these shingles go on top of that, they don't,
They don't go on top of an asphalt shingle.
they don't,
They
okay.
are the shingle.
They are the
They are
shingle.
the
They
shingle.
are the shingle.
And
So
then
they
the rest of it
overlap
is.
to a certain
Yes.
extent.
Yep.
So they're never penetrating a
Correct.
shingle.
Correct. They do not
Okay.
penetrate a shingle. They are the shingle. They are walkable as a regular shingle. It's not
You can
recommended.
walk on them?
Yep. It's not recommended you jump on it,
Wow.
but nobody should really be jumping on roofs anyway. They are walkable just like a normal roof shingle.
Wow.
Wow.
Yep. So it is a roof shingle and a solar panel at the same time.
Now, it doesn't look like a shingle, quite frankly.
It doesn't, but it's about as close as they can get with 2024 technology.
Well, I understand. I don't know how people feel about this.
I mean, from a distance, you can't really see it as well as you can the panels.
Right.
Panels are much.
Well, it certainly is an improvement over what.
It's definitely an
look,
improvement.
Just look right there.
It's definitely
You
an
see?
improvement, yes.
That's what we're
Yes.
trying to avoid in the
That's
district.
fair.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
And we just happen to have a great example right out the window.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Good point.
How does it compare in cost?
It's up there. It is about the same cost as a panel system. However, I would argue that it's a little cheaper because you're not roofing and then panel on top of it. So you're actually paying for the same surface area once instead of twice. So for their roof, for example, they're paying for that surface area twice, roofing with asphalt and then solar on top of it, whereas this does both jobs. So
On the other hand, if they have a
that's
relatively new roof, they may be able to be paying for the panels, which would be cheaper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Right.
But you're saying the actual solar panels are comparable to those solar panels?
Correct.
Okay.
In
Just
both,
cost.
in both cost and power.
And cost and installation,
Cost, installation, and power production.
power production,
Yep.
okay, good.
Now, this projects up off the table here. What is under there?
Lift, there's, there
That's it.
tabs.
It'd be basically installed just like this.
Okay, it'll
So
be,
this is about as far off the roof as it would come. As you can see right here,
okay.
that's about as far off the roof as it comes.
Great.
So a lot more slimline than what you see over there.
Much more, yeah.
But is that with or without shingles?
This is shingles and the solar shingle all in one system.
The solars are instead of shingles.
Yeah, I
where they-
understand that, but
Yeah.
am I looking at, are the solar shingles on the left and the,
Here's the solar shingles, and here's a regular shingle. So this is one system where
well,
we've
they
done both.
don't look all that,
No, they're not identical. They're clearly not identical.
okay?
I have a technical question. So if you have, I mean, you had a picture up a few minutes ago of a roof where the shingles didn't come to the edge of the roof.
Right.
And so the solar shingles are staggered.
Mhm.
It would seem to me the water would tend to run down the regular shingles
Under
behind.
the solar shingle.
No, there's flashing pieces and kits for that purpose. Yeah, there are ways to flash it, and we're working on building out like a full roof at the office to show.
Do you have a detail of that? I mean, so I guess the flashing goes under the shingles above the top edge, and then
Yeah,
comes-
it'd
yeah, and then it comes over. Okay.
I can try to find an exact picture, but the short answer is I promise you they've thought of it.
Yeah, yeah. No,
So it creates some
I think
kind
I
of a
understand.
gully though,
Yeah.
and that gully could collect leaves and such, yes?
No,
No?
no.
Okay.
No, it is
I'm understanding.
incredibly slim, and trust me, I asked that exact question. I went out to
Yeah,
an
yeah,
event
yeah.
with Certainty to talk about the system
Yeah, yeah.
3 weeks ago,
Uh-huh.
and I watched them install it personally, and I was like, well, what are the chances of anything being collected here? And they said they designed it specifically not to. The flashing piece itself is contoured and slim enough where it acts almost like a metal valley in between two planes of a roof,
Right.
where it is designed to just shed anything away.
Okay. This is good.
And the electrical connections then, how does one shingle sit on top of the other shingle then?
It overlaps pretty much just about this much. So the other one will
Okay,
overlap
so-
the nail lines here, so there's no potential of
Okay, so
water
that's
getting to the
where- That's where
penetrations.
it's connected to that, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, there are other companies that are making these shingles. Tesla makes one, right? Isn't that the first one?
Yeah, so Tesla made the first one that they actually backed out of Massachusetts. There's rules and regulations that Massachusetts has around the batteries, where you can't really have batteries in Massachusetts yet. The laws haven't really permitted it yet, and Tesla's system is only designed to work with a battery. So their system is very comparable to this, and it has about the same power production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But their system can't be installed in mass quite yet. It looks like they're going to be another 5 or 6 years.
Oof.
Yeah.
Are there other roofing companies like GAF or?
Same thing with GAF. They don't produce in Massachusetts yet. Just Certainty is going to be the first one, and this is as
So
of
this is it for now?
about January. Yeah,
Wow.
in January the inverters. There's a solar converter that we use, and it's in its own right incredible. But the
These are
inverter
micro
itself-
inverters?
There's both microinverters and a full inverter.
Okay, cool.
Great options for either.
Okay.
We recommend the full inverter through Solarc, and that's its own whole in-depth thing. But that recent approval, it was the green light for this to be used in Massachusetts.
Great.
Yep.
That's what was taking so long last year when we were talking. You had to go through a lot of regulatory
There's so many
hurdles.
things that Massachusetts had to approve, and they finally are good to go.
And you're in the whole northeast corridor? You're,
We're Massachusetts,
And-
all of Mass, New Hampshire, and Maine. Yep.
And Deborah's got all your contact information,
Yeah,
correct?
I've been talking to Deborah for a while.
so this
Good.
connects to the grid, so to speak. So you
Yes.
have net metering then
Yep.
with,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
this system?
Yep.
So you're not storing your own power, you're just
Correct.
selling it to the,
Correct. Power storage is what's not really permitted in Massachusetts yet.
right.
I
so
didn't know
yeah.
that.
Huh?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Massachusetts has been very picky.
Okay.
You go up to New Hampshire and
I
they're
guess
like, yeah, do whatever you want.
I guess they've heard about, Tesla battery fires.
That's part of it. That's a big
Yeah.
part of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's all sorts of things that they're not happy about.
And houses are flammable.
Yep.
Yeah, I got it.
At least I hope so.
Yeah.
If it's built the right way.
Yeah.
But yeah, Maine, New Hampshire, all good. Massachusetts is like, nah, not quite yet.
Okay.
But do you guys have any other questions?
When is the model project going to be completed?
Oh, yeah, we'd like to come
Is
take
that
a
in
look.
Massachusetts? That's in Beverly, or where's that?
An actual home?
No, the one that you said they're still constructing a model? of?
We're literally just building a small little demo roof. It's about this big.
Oh, that you're
And-
doing?
Yeah, we're doing it just
Mhm.
for fun. We bought
Okay.
we bought a bunch of these samples and the flashing pieces and everything. And we're building it for like a showroom piece
And where would that be?
in Beverly.
Beverly.
That's where our office is.
Mhm. So we could visit that if we wanted to see a
We're just looking at pictures.
installation.
We can see pictures, I guess.
Yeah, and I can take pictures and videos and everything like that
Yeah.
as well.
Good.
And I have full presentations. Frankly, it's easier if anybody was interested for their own home. I can build a 3D model of their house and everything like that and show it to them on their house.
Great.
Do you want to show them mine? So, because they're familiar with my house. He did a model
Sure.
of, because I have two planes that are facing south, and then the middle is the two little doghouse
Dormers.
dormers. So on the two wings, it's a
Mhm.
nice flat
Mhm.
plane without any dormers. So we were looking at potentially looking at,
This
Right.
was a
Those
very
two.
rough model.
that's the rough model.
Okay, yeah.
The very rough model we did
Oh, I
have it
see.
on the garage and on this plane. We left the front of it by itself.
Mhm. That doesn't have that much coverage. I'm surprised, how come you didn't go further? Oh, I see, because you got shadows, from the main road.
There's shadows. There's the fire codes. It's different in every
So you're
single
not allowed to
town.
go up to the peak?
The system said that the fire codes in this town says you can't go that close to the peak.
Really?
Yep. The
Huh.
system already pulls the codes from every single town in Massachusetts, and that's what the purple lines are, is the fire code and how close to the peak, to each edge you can go.
And would that be the same for any sort of panel?
That would, yeah, it'd be the
Yes,
same for any
that would be
solar
the same for
panel in any
anybody.
town. Yep.
Although across the street there, look at how high up
How
they
close
are.
they go?
Yeah, so there's a good
They're
chance
right
they
at the
didn't do
top.
it to regulation.
So that's probably not regulation.
Most likely not, because
Right.
this pulls directly from the town's
Right.
approvals.
Huh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, shows you what I know.
It's a very complicated
I understand.
concept.
So this was pulled when we still had the storage unit in front of our
Yeah,
house.
so
So
I
I
had to
thought
get
that
that
was
taken.
another plane they could put some solar on. The storage unit
I
is
could turn
gone.
around.
That pod is gone. So,
Now, what happens, here's a question, if the roof pitch is not optimal, you still just use whatever the pitch of the existing roof is?
Yeah, the pitch, it can be installed anywhere above a 3 pitch, and it doesn't really matter how much of a pitch there is.
Okay,
as
I
long as it's
I
not
thought
like a
there were
major roof.
optimal pitches for solar.
Depends on the path of the sun and which way your house
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
faces and everything like that. yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
great.
Obviously, in a perfect world, it like moves on its own to face the sun, but
Understood.
that's kind of crazy.
Okay.
It's like those ground mounts that actually
Yeah, that
move
actually
as the
move with
sun
it, yep.
changes, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think any solar roofing is there yet.
No. Houses are pretty
Well,
stationary.
thank you.
But yeah, if you guys have any questions, Deborah has all my contact information, everything like that.
Great.
Just for brief information's sake, is its own 50-year warranty, 25-year craftsmanship. So even if they were to install it wrong, we stand
50
behind the
years.
installer.
That's a good warranty.
Yeah, and it's non-prorated, so it scales with inflation, everything like that. It doesn't dip down over time. It does include the workmanship, the install, everything underneath, any water leakage, anything like any blow-offs, anything like that.
That's right.
Whole system.
So are the regular shingles also
Yes.
Guaranteed for 50 years? That's a pretty long
That's a damn good
That's a
shingle.
good
warranty
Yeah.
for a shingle.
Yeah, it's very rare in roofing. What we do by standard, if we're not doing a solar roof, we do a GAF Golden Pledge warranty, which is 50 years, non-prorated, free transfer to the next homeowner if the building sells. And because it's a full 9-point system with everything underneath, it's not just the shingles.
Mhm.
We can stand behind every single one of the tens of thousands of nails and everything for 50 years.
Right.
Unlimited wind rating and everything like that. It's a lot of fun.
And so if I want to replace my roof, this is an alternative, or does,
Yep.
I don't have to put this on the roof?
You cannot put it on the roof. You're correct, or if you're to replace the roof, it's an alternative, not.
It's an
on top.
alternative.
Yep.
And I think
That's
this will,
significant.
yeah, I mean, this, and, you know, I hope the word gets out that people should, you know, talk to
Yeah.
solar installs, because I think a lot of people think, well, I'll replace my roof,
And
and
then
then
put-
I'll call the solar guy.
Yep.
Actually, I should ask, does the audience have any questions?
I had to step up.
Yeah.
When, do you have, so if you wanted to stay with the continuous panels on the roof, are there fake panels that look like that you use to fill in the gaps? Or is that
No.
No.
asphalt?
They just use black shingle,
Yeah, I recommend a black or a dark
Black asphalt
gray.
shingle.
black asphalt shingle,
Okay.
Correct.
but it's a 50-year shingle.
And is that, but how does that tie in physically to that?
It,
panel?
it doesn't, so there's a system of flashing where flashing and the shingles come over the flashing.
So everything
and then it
is
goes over.
stepped,
Right.
like
Yeah.
normal?
Yep. And so it basically looks like this, and you weren't able to see it from there, but if you'd like, I can always email you presentations left.
I can try to, yeah.
Yeah.
kind of,
So it's basically one cohesive system, there's no asphalt underneath it, so it's all tied in together.
And that picture that you have on the screen, is that a black asphalt?
It's actually just one of the darker gray ones, it's not black. Black is a little bit closer.
As long as I bought it to come all the way over here, I would love to see what it looks like. Oh, okay. It's a little shinier, but not a lot.
Slightly. Not when it's nighttime.
And are there a lot of penetrations through the sheathing, or is it?
Less than regular asphalt sheet.
Oh.
Less than regular asphalt, because you see there's these 6 nails here.
Mhm.
Every single roofing shingle should have 6 nails in it.
Mhm.
So it's about the same, but this is also much bigger than one
Yeah.
asphalt shingle. So it's actually less penetrations.
And what about the wiring? Does that all run to, you know, some central point and then in?
It's
and then through the
actually a
sheet?
great question. So one of the biggest challenges right now in installing the system is vaulted ceilings, because there does have to be a rapid shut off in an attic space.
Yeah.
So while it is possible with vaulted ceilings, it is very difficult. It's actually something I want to double check with your house and walk you through those options. Where if you had a vaulted ceiling, you would have to cut a spot for a rapid shut off. But the short answer is all of the wires are linked together in a grid per section of panels.
Mhm.
And then there's one penetration that goes through the roof to a rapid shut-off box, and then from inside the attic, it runs over and down to.
But what you're telling us is it never runs down the side of the house?
No, no, it'd be through the attic space.
Very good.
Yep.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
So there's, you know, does it sit maybe an inch and a quarter high or something like that?
Yeah, roughly.
So if you were putting a roof system on that was a cold roof where you'd have strapping and then plywood decking on top of everything, so with like a drainage plane underneath. Are you familiar with that style?
No.
It's more like a kind of a modern energy efficient roofing where it's open at you know, from the bottom to the top of the roof. Basically, air can go underneath.
Yeah, just regular roof venting. So
Regular
with
roof venting, yeah.
something like an Intake Pro through GAF.
I'm not sure.
Okay. So typically, if you wanted to properly ventilate a roof, you do want proper airflow through the bottom all the way through the attic space and at the top. That goes underneath the roof decking though. It doesn't go between
Right.
the decking and the system.
Well, okay, but I guess what I was wondering is, does this take the place of that, or does this go on additionally on top of?
This would just go right on top of the roof decking. Any ventilation like that would go underneath the decking.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Thanks.
Great.
Well, thank you.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Cool. Awesome.
Thank you very
Um,
much.
I'll
So
give
you'll
the
send
business
me
cards.
the presentation?
Yes, I'll
and I
send you
can
these.
email it around.
Yeah, there's lots of breakdowns in here about how, I can send you the one specifically for your house as well, if you would like to share it. It's up to you, it's your
Sure.
property.
Yeah.
But it basically breaks down, like, if this is your rough energy bill, I put in Deborah's, this is what you're gonna pay over the course of a year, 5 years, 25 years, et cetera. And then with the right type of offset, how much money you'd be saving, and it breaks down. There's also, like Massachusetts rebates. If you buy a solar system, you get 30% off the solar system as a tax rebate, in your next tax cycle. Depending on your accountant, sometimes you can do just the system, sometimes you can do the entire roof because it's all one cohesive thing. But again, that's up to an accountant. I can't really speak too well on that. So there's all sorts of stuff and information that can happen.
So will you send to Deborah photos of installations and a brochure?
It's all this. Yep.
It's actually in photos, so we can
Yeah.
show someone.
We have to see that.
That's all of these.
All that.
Okay, you're gonna send photos of those.
Well, that
I'm gonna
entire
send
presentation is
This
coming to me.
PDF. I will
Coming
send
to you, and you'll make
And I'm
photos
gonna
of it.
send it to everyone.
I'm gonna
What I
send-
mean to have here as
I'll have
actual
one,
photos.
I'll have one copy that's a hard copy.
Okay.
And I'll put it
Good,
into the
good,
minutes.
good.
'Cause
Okay.
We've spoken about it extensively,
Yeah,
so it'll be part
that's
of the
terrific.
minutes.
Thank you.
I have one more question, quick. So you mentioned that there's a rapid shut-off switch. Can that style system be installed in an uninhabited building, like a shed or a barn or something?
Yes.
Or it can be, okay.
Yep, we've done it. We are about to do one on a pool house. It's a lot bigger than you would imagine a pool house to be. But yeah, it's technically an uninhabited structure separate from the building, and we are installing it. The biggest challenge for those is running the wiring to the house meter. So that is a big challenge, and if you want to do it appropriately, it can get very costly to dig it through the ground and everything.
If you had like a 200 amp service or something in the outbuilding, would that would be?
That would be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
And
Thanks, Michael.
Sorry, the issue you mentioned with the rapid shut-off and vaulted ceilings, that's also true with, it's true with any panels, right?
It's true with any panels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any panel. Oh, not necessarily. There are some panels where they're like, yeah, let's just throw the wires all over the roof and down the side of the house. The correct way of install is yes, it should run into the house, and then it would be the same issue. But a lot of solar companies just do whatever they want to try to, yeah. So this is a little bit more regulated than a lot of solar panels, which I'm sure you've heard a lot of horror stories out in solar.
Thank you.
Of course.
All right.
And I'd like to thank Deborah particularly
Yeah.
for
Little
going
research
to all the, doing
paid
all the
off.
legwork and getting us this far.
It's a good product, yeah. Very good.
I'll leave a couple business cards. Actually, I'll just leave a little stack over on the table that's out there.
Okay.
That way you have them, and you have my info. I'll send you everything.
Sounds good. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, additional new business. I have two more items of new business myself. I don't know if anybody else does. One of them is that someone came to me to talk to me about putting in a split air conditioning unit, you know, a
Mini split?
mini split. And it seems that our guidelines don't speak about mechanical appurtenances to a structure. And that's something we need to just, I think, update the guidelines to include. They talk about architectural features appurtenant to a structure, but not mechanical. And mechanical would include that, would include a generator, I would assume, would include wires that run down, or other items that run down the outside of a building. And I think we need to update that.
In the past, we have reviewed air conditioners and
Okay, but
things
I'm
of
not
that
sure
sort.
that our guidelines
Oh,
cover
I see.
that, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
In terms of what we have jurisdiction over, et cetera.
Well, they are structures, so and we have review over all structures.
So you think of a air conditioning unit as a structure, I guess?
If
it
it's
is.
installed permanently, like
Okay,
one of
fair
those
enough.
mini splits.
Fair
yeah.
enough, because I know we talk about raised septic mounds. Maybe we should just specifically enumerate things like generators and air conditioning.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
could just,
yeah.
but generally, because they're structures,
Yeah,
and
okay.
the
So
structures
they,
that are,
in themselves, they are structures.
and they're
That's
above
good.
grade.
Okay, I wasn't sure how to
Yeah.
read that. Okay, good.
Right. But we probably should have something specific
Some
in
specific
our rules and
examples,
regulations.
sure.
And-
Right.
and,
Just throw them in there so nobody's confused,
Yeah,
and nobody wants to argue with us.
and I mentioned a meeting last year that people are starting to put these in with the piping on the outside of
On
the
the
house.
outside, right, exactly.
And we need to.
And that's definitely pertinent to the structure, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it becomes a part of the structure.
Yeah. Good.
We need to review those.
And then, actually, I have 3 items I have to bring up. So I attended the the general meeting for the neighborhood association. And I did it specifically, I got up and asked, how people would feel if we went back before the town meeting to change the bylaws to give us jurisdiction over walls, fences, and the color of roofs. And I received a much less than enthusiastic response.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Don't really.
And which surprised me. Garrett doesn't see it quite that way, but that's the way I saw it.
Yeah.
Garrett was there also. Go ahead, Garrett.
Yeah, well, what happened specifically was that you wanted to take a poll, and the person who was leading the meeting said we can't take a poll because this wasn't on the agenda.
Right, which is crazy because it's not a binding on anybody.
And anyway, I don't think it reflected any antagonism towards the idea.
But the comments I received did reflect quite a bit of antagonism of various kinds.
There were, maybe some on both sides. Maybe some comments that reflected people's interest in knowing more about it. I think a lot of people don't understand exactly why we don't have jurisdiction over walls and fences.
Our roofs?
What were the 3 things you said? I'm sorry.
Color of roofs, walls, and fences.
So when you say walls, then are you talking about like cement walls?
Any kind of wall. Stone walls, cement walls.
Yeah, it's actually, so the Massachusetts law that set up historical districts and historic commissions actually allows for the town bylaws establishing the commission to exclude certain things. And one of the things that can be excluded is walls and fences. And that's exactly what it says in the state law, walls and fences. So, yeah, what does that mean? Because a house has walls, but of course we have jurisdiction over.
I don't know.
The idea is freestanding walls.
Yeah.
Exterior walls like fences.
So we've considered it to be stone walls.
Freestanding walls and fences.
Fences, yeah.
And
So the operative word is freestanding.
Yeah, no, it is, but which we need to
That's-
do in
Well,
our
I mean,
bylaw, but
That's
yes.
not part of state law or
It's
our
an
bylaws. Yeah.
alternate to a fence.
Right, and it's not a retaining wall either.
Yeah.
Well, that would not be an alternate to a fence.
Right. So, anyway, and it's, the things, okay, so other comments I got both before and after I made that little speech, were people who got all upset about our $50 fee for the application for a certificate of appropriateness. And someone saying, well, I just want to put in new gutters, and as a percentage of my cost, you should do it as a percentage of cost. And I was thinking, give me a break. And someone else was saying, well, what if I wanted to put in a deer fence? And I said, yeah, that's a fence. You'd have to come before us for materials and colors and all that kind of thing. And I'd have to pay $50 if we had that authority.
Right.
And I'd have to pay $50 for that? And it was like, 50, what is your fence gonna cost?
Yeah.
But, okay, enough said. I just thought I'd give that report, and as I say, I know you feel it wasn't as negative as I felt it was, but I feel if there's not an engine there pushing for this, it will never pass a town meeting.
Well, I think if you want to, address this issue with the point, you need to get on the agenda, make a presentation, and then, have a discussion.
Just make a presentation with a really ugly fence.
Huh, what?
Just make a presentation with an extremely ugly fence.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's easy. Or you could do a palisade fence across your entire property so nobody could see the water. And right now we have no jurisdiction.
Right, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. But then people say, well, how about if you just do certain, not stone walls, but other kinds of walls? And it's like, you know, you can't, it's like everybody's got
Cinder
something,
block?
everybody's got something they prefer. Well, I don't care about walls and fences, but I care about roofs.
Right, right.
And it's like, I found it discouraging. But
Yeah,
maybe,
I didn't,
okay, well, Garrett, I'll let
Can I
you
ask you one more-
spearhead this,
Can I ask
yes.
you one more question? How many, I missed it. That was one that was on Saturday morning, right?
Yeah,
So how many people came to that? I'm curious.
there were, I don't know, 50 people?
Really?
Was that many?
At most, yeah.
Maybe 40,
Maybe 40. yeah.
between 40 and 50.
Really? And they really were like, no, we don't want that.
Yeah, well, partly, you know, your chair
Yeah.
doesn't think we should even be giving Bronca a hard time.
Well,
I mean, so, yeah,
Rudd,
yeah.
I did do a presentation before the Point Association with a large picture of a bright green metal roof, which I thought would really strike a nerve. So after that, we actually were going to go to the town meeting with that,
Right.
because we just didn't want to see, we thought people didn't want to see the bright green metal roof or purple or whatever you want in the district, which would certainly be an incongruity. But we were prepared, we had it all set to go before the town meeting, and in our public hearings, which are required, before we go before the public hearing, there was so much opposition to it. And then finally, the president of the association said that he could not endorse it, and that was it. Because prior to that, we went to the town meeting with another change, which is a change to the wording in the original bylaw. And we did do that through the association again, and the chairman or president of the association was there at the town meeting and spoke highly in favor of us, and we got it through. So I don't think we can get through without their endorsement, anything, you know. So it's a waste of our time, and we did waste a lot of our time at these hearings over roofs and stone walls. So that's been done before. I don't know how to do it. I just, maybe it's a certain group of people, or maybe the endorsement doesn't have to come from the association itself. It could come from just individual people that would go to a town meeting and support it. If people felt that way, that's the way to do it. But I don't know if you can get the endorsement from the association.
I can ask them if I can ask them.
Well, that would be a good thing, or if you're interested in a
It
try,
really surprises me.
Yeah.
we'd have no
Well,
trouble.
unfortunately, what happens in Westport, if I'm going to speak more generally, is that the people who are opposed to things are much more
Wow.
vocal and organized than the people who are in favor of making the changes that need to be made.
Amen.
Sorry, we just moved here. Where I grew up in Smithfield, Rhode Island, there was a small tax incentive for continuous stone walls. If they were continuously stacked, we grew up on old property with
Right.
enough walls, and my parents had no money, so we stacked more walls. You know? And that was, I don't know if that was specific, I think it was specifically a town thing, but I wonder if that could be maybe like a side way around encouraging, you know, if somebody that was opposed to regulation, but then saw, oh, what if I have a step
Well-
wall that met a certain criteria, it had to be 50 feet and continuous and everything.
Right. And I guess one of the criteria would have to be it could only be a certain height.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Because
With
for many
even-
years down at the Point, there was a stone wall that was a good
Yeah.
6 feet, 7 feet high. I don't know how
I
high
thought
that
6
wall was.
is the limit in Westport.
Well,
And
you know, but-
for a
For
fence,
yeah.
for a fence, but
Yeah.
we can, if we had control over it, we could set our own limits.
Right, right, yeah.
But one of the reasons is, of course, we don't want to see the stone walls demolished.
No.
Right.
Right now, anyone can tear down a stone
whatever they
wall.
want, right.
I mean, that's one of the things that's so great about the whole town.
And
So, get together and come to us with a petition requesting that we put it on the town meeting, signed by a lot of people's names on it.
Or join us. What the hell, we need more members.
Well, I was on the commission in the 80s.
Well, come back, because I've got another bit of news, another bit of new business that is not good news for the commission, which is I'm leaving Westport. So we're going to need a new chair, and we're going to need more members.
And so where are you going?
Stamford, Connecticut.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yes.
Sorry.
I understand.
You do have one
When?
Well,
As soon as
the
possible.
closing is supposed to be toward the end of May. It may take a couple more months for us to get out of our house.
So
and sell
basically
it.
by September.
Oh, definitely by September. Yeah.
Well, we're sorry to see you go.
We certainly are.
So, as long as we're discussing this, we can start discussing succession, or maybe we can think about it and discuss it next meeting. I don't know how you guys would. See who might be interested, see who might be volunteered against their will, as I was originally.
I
Wow.
think we should discuss it at the next meeting, maybe put it on the agenda.
Fair enough. Oh, fair enough. Okay, and then the last item of business, which I'm trying to do at each of these meetings, is to go over some more of our governing documents. Everybody ready? Okay. Last time we went through chapter 40C. What we have this time is our bylaw, the Westport bylaw. It's a Historical Commission bylaw 5901. Okay, now, so I'm just going to, as I say, read out the things that were salient to me that I'm not sure everyone was aware of. And that is the members of our commission are supposed to include one member from two nominees submitted by the local historical society, one member from two nominees submitted by the chapter of the American Institute of Architects covering the area, and one member from two nominees from the Board of Realtors, if any, covering the area. So, you know, those are people we might, I guess we have a search committee. I think we should be contacting those three organizations and seeing if they can come up with nominees. Aren't you part of the search committee? Are you the search committee?
No, I'm not in the
Who's the
search
search
committee.
committee? Who's the
I'm
search
on the
committee?
search
I thought we had new
I
members.
thought
for
Betty
search-
Slade was running that
I don't
search
think
committee.
we had a search committee.
We don't have
We have a subcommittee.
That's what I mean,
that
search
is,
subcommittee, yeah.
but it wasn't exactly a search subcommittee. It was a subcommittee to try to set up an advisory
An
board.
advisory.
Advisory board,
A
okay.
group that would advise us.
How many
You
of
don't need
us
that right now,
fit
right?
that criteria?
An advisory board?
criteria?
You don't need that regulation right now, right?
Well, I mean, that was the original,
Right.
the original formation, I know, but I'm thinking those are good resources to approach to find
To
more
find new
members.
members.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my only thinking.
Yeah.
It's not a necessity, no.
So what are the three organizations that we should
The
approach?
Historical
Realtor-
Society, the AIA chapter covering the South Coast, and the Board of Realtors covering the South Coast. Yeah. Okay.
Dick Wertz was the last AIA.
Do any of us qualify for any of the above?
What?
I said, do any of us qualify for any of the above?
I do.
You want to
I
join
don't
the
use my
board?
realtor's license, but I have one.
Yeah, good. See, yeah, it
Come
sounds
join
like
us.
sounds like you're a no-brainer here. Excuse me, no, I don't mean it that way. Okay. Okay. Next thing is one of the things one of the powers of the commission was to conduct a survey of Westport buildings and sites for the purpose of determining those of historic significance, architecturally otherwise. Copies of this continuing survey should be placed in the hands of the Westport Planning Board, the Conservation Board, the Board of Selectmen, and the Westport Public Library, and periodically updated by the Commission. And I'm not sure that the last time that they were updated, or of course we've discussed that with Betty prior to this, but also that they've been placed with those bodies.
Right, I mean, another thing is that, I mean, these bylaws were probably written before Macris, and
Yes,
so now the state keeps a database.
that's true, the state does keep a database, but,
So, and that's available to all of those entities, the planning board.
no, that's true, although I don't know if they ever make use of it. I'm not sure they know how to use it even, or know that it's there.
Yeah, I don't know, I mean, Ralph might use it, he might look
I don't, I'm not
something
sure
up
what
on.
Ralph
Yeah,
uses.
I don't know,
Yeah, fair enough,
but they could use it.
yeah.
Well, I think he does, because anytime something comes before...
That's true, he comes before
Yeah.
us if it's historic.
This document went before the town meeting in 1972.
Yeah, I know.
Right, so long before, I mean, before the internet,
Right. Okay.
definitely before Macris.
And those are the only two things that jumped out of on the town bylaws. There's the demolition bylaw. And the only thing I had on the demolition bylaw was that there's something called a preferably preserved significant building. Is any significant building whose demolition has been determined by the commission to be detrimental to the historical or architectural heritage or resources of the town, and which I think is what we've been observing up to now. Yeah. Okay, do you want me to continue with rules and regulations, or you guys had enough for tonight?
Can I just ask on this, search for nominees? I know Yvonne Barr is on the Historical Society. I can
Yes.
reach out to her,
That's a good idea.
because she obviously knows.
Or just talk to Jen, either one, yeah.
Mhm.
O'Neill, yeah.
I don't have any contacts at the AIA. Maybe Bill, if you have any, do you have
I
any?
don't know.
No. To
First
reach
is
out.
find out what the local chapter is, and just give them a call, maybe.
Probably Boston, I would think. Well, my daughter's studying to be an
No.
architect, so maybe she knows.
Maybe,
I'm gonna ask
good,
her.
good. And the third one was the.
Board of Realtors, which I think we could ask our resident expert here about the Board of Realtors, right?
Yeah, there's, I mean, yeah, I think it just depends on some, if they wanna spend the time, as anybody volunteers, but I can find out.
That would be great. I mean, we have to find some,
And we,
new
well, we
members.
have, talked about some architects who are members of, who live in the historic district.
right, well, Jeff Wade was
Yeah,
willing
that's what we
to
were-
Be on the
serve
advisory
as an
committee.
advisor.
Yes,
If we
I
call
got
upon
that.
him for technical questions, something comes
Right.
up that we really would like, expertise,
right.
he's willing. I
But he
think
wa-
Jim
he-
Collins was too.
He
right?
was on for a number of years.
Yes.
But if Jeff, why don't we press him into being on the commission?
I tried, and it's a no.
I've tried also.
Yeah, okay.
I think we've
can
all
say that
asked him,
that's a-
he
that's
said
a-
no.
That's not.
Not in the
not
cards.
happening.
Mhm.
But he's happy to be an advisor to us, which I think is a win.
Mhm. Good.
Right, let's do this at the next
Okay.
meeting.
Okay, fair
And maybe
enough.
we can bring on the agenda at the next meeting, like, if we come up with any nominees, we could see what our approach is to
Well, the
searching.
approach is if they say yes, they should come to a meeting, see what we're all about, and then they should apply. As long as, I mean, we should talk to them. but
We should
yeah.
keep talking about this at every meeting
Yeah.
until we
Yes.
come up with some people.
Yes, absolutely.
I had two more things.
Yes, good.
And
So,
Betty Slade is very helpful,
Mhm.
if we could, and she knows we need new members, so
Yes.
keep getting her to work on that would help. She knows a lot of people.
Sorry.
yeah, so one issue is 2015. We've been, the town has been sued over 2015, and I just want to discuss how the committee, or who on the committee will be working with town council.
Well, so far, I've been working with town council.
Okay.
I will continue to do so as long as I'm around.
Okay, and I think Deborah and Bill were the ones who prepared the statement
We
about our
did.
decision.
Under
So-
advice of council, we drafted it, and then we had several drafts with council till we came up with
Right.
final denial.
That was submitted, right?
It was delivered to the applicant, it was put into the record, so it's official. The
It's
denial is on the
Yeah.
record.
It is.
So I would just, I mean, the three of you.
I will
can-
coordinate with
yeah,
them as well.
I think that'd be great, just to have more than one voice. The other thing I wanted to mention is, I mean, having done the minutes for the last two meetings and looking at the transcripts, I just want to remind people that everything that we say here is
Gets
recorded,
recorded.
it's viewable, it may end up in court, and I think we should just be very careful about our language. Don't comment on things that we don't need to comment on or that are kind of beyond the scope of our decisions about appropriateness, because after all, that's what we're here for. And
Fair enough.
Very good, very good.
Well said, I agree.
That's all I have.
Great.
Okay. All right, I'm waiting for. a
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Garrett Stock, aye.
I move, Caroline Bolter.
I, Red Lawrence.
William Kendall.
So this was
aye.
a
Deborah Chialfi, aye.
meeting, not a hearing.
We're adjourned.
We're adjourned.